Hi, this is Torres McBride with Torres Tech, and I want to make a video about a disturbing trend that I'm seeing in the commercial real estate market. This is a job that we were working with a couple of years ago. So you see it says February 23rd to June 2022. So a friend of mine gave me a call and he said that there's somebody needs a heat pump moved. And typically, you don't really move heat pumps unless they're like really, really big. The problem with moving heat pumps is um, because they're kind of flimsy. Like the manufacturers, I'm not going to say they don't put a lot of care into the manufacture of the equipment, but the parts can be kind of cheap. So you can see here, this was a multi-zone unit. So one, two, three. So they had three heads connected here. And with heat pumps, the flares, they always leak like crazy. So you might not have great success with actually moving a unit, but whatever. Unfortunately, I did not do, and look, this was a nightmare. We had to drop the condensers down. It was crazy. Um, so unfortunately, I didn't do my due diligence, which I never let this happen again. I did not inspect the location that we were moving the units to. So this is the backyard of the space that we're moving it to. So you can see here on the inside where we're putting the heat pumps in. And the reason why the owner asked us to do this was because they had rented a space and they thought that the HVAC worked, but in fact did not. Now, what we're looking at here for those who don't know is an actual furnace. Um, so if you look here, the furnace is on top, so you have the gas line connected, and then this is the air handler section. And then down here at the bottom, these are where the refrigerant lines typically would go. And again, I didn't do my due diligence at the time. I just kind of came and saw like, okay, you want us to put it in. Like, whoa, what is this? Now, the main thing that anybody will tell you about a furnace is all this stuff should be indoors. This is indoor equipment. So the air conditioning section is down here. The furnace section is up here. Anybody who knows anything about furnaces, you're basically heating the air. So the fan portion is going to be down here in the air conditioning section. The refrigerant lines are here. The fan is right here. That's where you have your electrical connections. And then the furnace is sitting on top of there. When you're in cooling mode, you would cool the air and then the air goes up through the ducts. When you're in heating mode, the fan is working, the refrigeration circuit is off, and then it's just heating up the air. This is the return duct that's bringing the air back in from the space. Now, again, all of this should be indoors. When the customer rented the space, the landlord came in, flipped the switch, the fan came on, but heating and cooling did not come on, and the customer didn't know enough about HVAC to say, so wait a minute, something's wrong here. Let me see more. So when we came outside, we came across this. So the cover, I actually removed the cover to get inside of here. You see all these feathers and things, right? So what happened is a furnace has a combustion air fan. You have a fan for a couple of reasons. Number one, you don't want to build up a gas, it may explode, so it has to purge. But then also, in order to burn something, you have to have combustion air going in there, right? So the fan was inside of the furnace, and because this is outdoors, and birds and mice and things like that are outdoors, they would come into this section to try to get warm, and they would literally get sucked into the combustion air fan. So what we are looking at right here are bird guts. This is an eviscerated bird that you can actually see the hole here. There's a hole here because you have to vent your flue gases. So the bird crawled into here, got sucked into the combustion air fan, got ripped to shreds and blown all apart. Now, again, this is a gas line. None of this is legal, by the way. This is all completely illegal. Now, let me jump ahead, right? So we clean all this stuff up. These are the condensers that we relocated. We're cleaning all this stuff up. We're getting all this stuff working. And then the heat pumps that we relocated were going to be used for a certain section of this facility. Now you can see here all of this metal structure. So the previous tenant had built all this metal structure back there completely illegally, right? And when the The new tenant moved in. They thought, hey, we have equipment. It should work. No, 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 it doesn't work. Now, remember the picture that I showed you earlier next to where the air conditioner section is, the refrigerant lines were cut. The old condenser actually used to sit on top where this gentleman is here. So the condenser used to be up there. You can see all the ductwork going in there, right? So we went and we bought brand new condenser. Old condenser's gone. Assume the old customer took it with them, because I've seen that happen a lot too, right? So we start to hook up the new condenser, and then the landlord, the owner of the building, it was crazy. We actually had to take the whole condenser apart to fit it through the door, right? And we're working into the middle of the night trying to hook this thing up. So the landlord comes to us with an architect and says, no, 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 you can't install this. It's like, wait, so this is right here where we cleaned up the furnace and we got the furnace working. So I'll come back to that. So, okay, all the equipment is working. We're ready to go. We just need to hook up this new condenser, and then we can give them air conditioning. They theoretically have heat. They'll have air conditioning. They'll be good to go. The landlord says, no, you can't install that new condenser because it's illegal. What do you mean it's illegal? We're replacing what was already there. They said, no, no, no. So I'm jumping ahead here. I'll show you. So again, remember that all that structural metal. Let's see here. So the old condenser was up here on top of the structural metal, and we were going to install the new condenser right there. So here's what the landlord says to us. You can't install that because this backyard is considered a means of egress. What do you mean a means of egress? Like, you're bricked up completely all the way around. There was an existing condenser. Let us put the condenser where the old condenser was. Would not allow us to do that. Let us put it here. Would not allow us to do that. Let us put it on a roof. It's a 6, 7-story building. We'll put it on a roof. We'll run the lines. Would not allow us to do that. Now, again, remember, this was from February up until June of 2022. It is 2 years later. The heat pumps were working. We, as far as I know, that secondary system right here was never connected, was never allowed to work. Now, the reason why I'm going through this whole story is I'm not trying to make the landlord look like a bad person. Again, all of this stuff is illegal. But in between the old tenant leaving and the new customer coming in, he should have been honest with the new tenant to say, here's where we're at, instead of acting like the HVAC system works. Because now they created undue strain on that person. And trust me, this was a very, very tenuous situation. This was years ago. This was recently after the pandemic. And there's a lot of problems in commercial businesses around that time. There still are. So as I said, I didn't do my due diligence. And mind you, all of the work that was being done was fully permitted. They had permits on the doors and all this stuff. We weren't trying to break any rules. We had an architect. There's an architect friend of mine who asked me to investigate the space. We could have provided drawings. We could have provided anything that they want, but the landlord would not budge. And I see this happening over and over and over again with people, because on one hand, the landlords really don't understand HVAC, and then the customers don't understand HVAC. And then you have a lot of contractors who are willing to do things unscrupulously because, listen, I never would have put a furnace outdoors, but whatever. My point is this: the leverage that the tenant has is before you sign the lease. Do not sign a lease if you are not fully sure of how the HVAC works. And listen, I used to have gyms and I've rented a bunch of spaces and stuff like that. So I know what it's like when you feel, oh, this is a perfect space. There's all this competition for spaces. Listen, right now, the commercial real estate space is a nightmare. There's a whole bunch of spaces out there. If you are thinking of renting a space to use for your purposes, please call somebody. Not necessarily me, call anybody. Call anybody that can come and just take a look before you sign that lease to make sure that you're not catching a falling knife, because that's basically what happened here.